Hi, welcome to the Glow Interviews. My name is Katie Oman and I am a psychic, author, motivational speaker and coach. The Glow Interviews is a place where we can meet some really inspiring and amazing people who are amazing and incredible at what they do. I know that through talking with them, we'll all be left feeling empowered and hopeful of a brighter tomorrow. All of the contact details for both myself and my guests are in the description box below. So please go and have a look if you'd like to get hold of either of us. Today's guest is the wonderful Chrissie Astell. She is a messenger of angelic love and healing, and she has spread the angel's guidance to people right across the world. She's written 5 books, published 3 oracle sets, and created numerous guided meditations. Chrissie also helps and teaches others through her home study courses on spiritual development and angel card readings, as well as her diploma program to teach workshop facilitators. And she runs retreats as well. She's a very busy lady. She is such a beautiful light in the world, and I'm so deeply honoured to have her here today. So welcome, Chrissie. Thank you so much for being here with me today.
Well, I'm glowing after that bio. Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. It's lovely.
You're very welcome.
Lovely to have some one-to-one contact with somebody. And
yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
I really agree with that. Yeah, it's been a difficult year, so to actually talk to people face to face as much as we can like this is a blessing in itself. So how are things with you? How have you been over the last 12 months? Has it been a challenging time for you?
Yes, it's been really challenging, but I'm well and I've remained well. I haven't had any of the problems that some people have had. I haven't had to say goodbye to anyone because of the pandemic or anything. So I've been very blessed, but I've missed my groups. I've missed doing the talks and the workshops. And of course I had to cancel retreats. So that was, I did manage to get to Crete in September with a great bunch of people, but you know, I take people to the Holy Land to experience the energies there.
Yeah.
And get some healing from those magical places. I do that nearly every year, and it didn't happen last year and it's not happening this year. So yeah, I've had to cancel things, and I hate cancelling things, but it hasn't been safe to take people away, and other people's safety is paramount. I can't take somebody on a healing retreat if they're going to come back sick, can I? So yeah, I'm missing lots, missing just like everybody else. Sadly, I haven't got anybody to furlough me, so it has been a bit tricky for us, hasn't it?
It has. You know, everybody's had their own challenges, and yeah, it's definitely been a difficult year. I wondered what messages the angels have for you and for us about what we've been through as a collective and as, you know, as humanity. Are they bringing messages to you about everything?
Well, the overriding sense is of space, and the messages that I and many of my peer groups seem to be getting are all is in hand. You know, all is in hand, and that our biggest problem as human beings is that we get anxious and we want to be in control. And we hate it when we're out of control and we're too busy. So the main message of healing that I have felt is that this is a time for going within, for being still, for observing the beauty in the world. And of course, look at what's happened. Look, Katie, at what's happened. We've had so much kindness, so much expression of love in action. That, I mean, that has been fabulous, hasn't it? So yeah, the message is patience, go inside, be still and listen and see. And I find that in the main, we, you know, human beings, we're very busy and we don't listen, and we're always trying to get one step ahead and get control of everything. And this has been a time for being in the garden or praying and meditating and watching the birds and seeing a sky that isn't full of white stripes, you know. And so, yeah, the overriding message has been, be still.
Yeah, and of course, some people have found it easier than others. The hamster wheel can feel like your comfort zone for many, many people to keep going and going and going. And I think you're right. I think a lot of people seem to forget they have one mouth and two ears, right? They seem to think it's the other way around. And even I noticed that even in personal relationships, it's like people don't really listen to each other. They're waiting for their turn to talk. And I think it has made us slow down, but also to appreciate each other more, because like all we really want to do is be back together. So I hope that this time is when we are allowed and when things return to some kind of normality, I hope that our personal connections will be stronger and deeper than ever before.
Oh, I do hope so. I mean, probably like me, you've got loads of WhatsApp groups, and you know, you're forever trying to be inspirational and put something good and heartfelt on social media. And of course, you and I both write for Soul and Spirit magazine, so we've still got to maintain that upbeat, inspirational writing.
Yeah.
But I absolutely agree that I feel that it has given us, this is personal, this isn't a message from the angels or anything, but I feel it's given us an opportunity to appreciate one another, appreciate family.
Yeah.
You know, I have friends who haven't seen their grandchildren or haven't seen other members of the family for the whole time because they've been shielding themselves. I'm very blessed that I haven't had to shield. Just try very hard to follow the rules. But in a slightly different way than for those people who've got a serious chronic illness. But this has given me the opportunity as well to try really hard to run the kind of meditations where I can help people maybe go inside and discover what it is they need to do that's making them ill.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's really hard, isn't it? It's trying to find the blessing in the lesson all the time. I think that's the key, even if you have to look really, really hard sometimes.
No, yeah, and you know, I mean, I've been teaching now since '97, and bringing people into a space where they feel the energy for themselves. And it's like anything else, you know, Katie, when we've been doing something for a long time, whether it's, I don't know, whatever it is, whether we're into IT and we're good at computers, or we're in admin, or whatever role we play, we tend to forget that not everybody understands something the way we can understand it. And so sometimes I get frustrated because I know if I have a pain, if I have a headache, I do ask, you know, I do ask. I ask the angels to take it away. Yeah. And it works. And it works almost every time. I can't ask them to take a broken ankle away. I have to wait for that to heal. But every time. And do you know, the other day I had a really bad headache, and I just went upstairs and I sat and I asked for it to be taken away. Well, I came back down and my husband said, "So have you taken some ibuprofen then?" And I said, "No, but it's gone." And then I think, well, you know, why doesn't everybody do that first? Why don't other people do that first, rather than getting to a point where they're really in a bad place and then asking somebody to tell them what to do? I'm just gonna turn. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that my phone was not switched on.
That's okay, don't worry. Real world conversations.
Yeah, it's frustrating, and that's not, and I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not judging people for that, because it takes a huge leap of faith to trust. But you know, we all get sent to places where we need to be. We're all in the right place at the right time, and that's very hard for somebody if their belief system is filled with fear.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that, because in life, I always say this to people, there's only ever two choices, really. You're either moving towards fear or you're moving towards love. But of course, the world is saturated with fear on many different levels. And to try and, like you say, be this light and try and inspire people, that's our job, and that's why we're here as light workers. But sometimes it's easier some days than others. It depends what's going on in the collective, right?
Yeah, and we've got human lives, and we've got kids, or grandchildren, or parents. Some of us are not parents and regretting it, and we're all chasing something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Many people haven't found their purpose, and this has been very frustrating for them, to sit and not be able to work and not go out and socialize. And if I would have been able to give anybody a real gift, I would have given them the gift of being able to find a way of moving forward with purpose. And some have, look at, like I said, look at all the kindness and the volunteering and helping people to get through it by rushing around for them and stuff like that. But I just feel that many of us are only here to be beacons of light. That is our purpose. And stop looking for something else. Just be the best you know. So if you're in a job that you don't like, ask yourself, what is it about it I don't like? Why is it so challenging to me? And maybe you're there because you're supposed to be there to bring the light into that situation, just by kindness and not judging everybody that you're working with. And it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I think it's to say that perspective, because people do, I'm sure you've had it as well, people come to you and they're so worried that they're getting it wrong, and they're so worried that they're wasting time and they're not going to figure it out, and that brings an awful lot of anxiety. But like you said, everything happens for a reason. I know that in my life, and I'm sure you do in yours. And I think you always end up where you're supposed to be, even if it's not on the time frame that you would want for yourself,
Yeah, absolutely. I always say there's many roads to the top of the mountain, and it's your choice which way you take. You can either go in the lift or you can walk around the long way. It's really fascinating. And every time I look back and I reflect on some of the decisions I've made that haven't been necessarily the right decisions, it's taught me something that I need for the next stage. So it's
Absolutely. So you and I both work with angels in our own way. And so again, like you say, we take it for granted that everybody does, but of course they don't. So as somebody who's been working with them for a very long time, if you're new to all of this, if you're watching, how would you recommend that people start to welcome the angels into their lives? What would be your kind of top tips, if you like?
Find a quiet space. Find a place where you can create a little area of beauty. So bring some flowers or crystals or candles or something into one area. It used to be called creating an altar, but I don't call it that anymore. It's kind of, but this can happen anyway. You don't have to do that, but find a space where you can be quiet, and then just ask. Just call them in, just breathe deeply and ask to feel something, ask to feel a presence. Some people get very frustrated, as you know, because they don't see things when they close their eyes. And I feel that people just need to take a little step back and ask themselves, well, how do I do things? Am I a good listener? Do I feel shivers when something happens and I think, oh, hello, something's going on? Do I perhaps have vivid dreams? Or do I sometimes think I can smell something that I know isn't happening? And then go with that sense.
Yes.
So don't always, one of the things that I used to find very frustrating when I was running workshops on how to connect with your angels is that you've only got to have one person in the group to say, oh yeah, I can see them. Yeah, I see them all the time. And then other people feel inferior they think, oh, I must be doing something wrong, I can't see angels. And so I say, no, well, you might not be ever able to see angels, because you might not be someone who sees.
Yeah.
But perhaps you can feel, or you can hear. So I always tell people, well, how did you learn best when you were at school? And then from that, they can try to develop the bit that works for them. Lots of people say, as you probably know, they close their eyes and, oh yeah, I can. Well, I can see a purple light, but I can't see anything else. Start with that then, and ask the angels to show you a color or a vibration or something. And I used to tell people years ago, yeah, let's go and find the name of your angel. And now I feel it doesn't really matter what the name of your angel is. That's only my personal feeling, because whatever the name is that you might hear, you might disbelieve it anyway, because you might sort of say, Frederick can't possibly have an angel called Frederick, you know what I mean, or Bob, you know. So, but it's the vibration that they're hearing, and they really want to put it into a name that we can understand. And it's not a word, it's a sensation, it's a vibration. And yeah, it's still all over. I mean, I've been really blessed to go down to Sri Lanka 3 times and run workshops down there, invited by someone, sponsored by someone. And the biggest thing is I haven't seen my angel yet. Who is my angel? And I say, well, I'm not able to tell you who your angel is, but I'll take you to a place where you can find out for yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think that's more empowering, really.
Definitely. I found when I was connecting to my guardian angels and kind of reaching and discovering who they were and their names and stuff, I found that the name not only came to me intuitively, but also I became very aware of that name, like suddenly in my personal life. And it was something that it wasn't a name that I hadn't really been aware of before, but suddenly I felt like it was everywhere. It was almost like she was trying to confirm it to me, going, yes, this is me, I am here. Yeah. So I think you just got to be kind of open-minded as much as you can, right? And be open that it may not happen or come in the way you expect it to, because of course that in itself can block you from connecting, can't it? If you think it has to be this way.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone's different. And people are very egotistical. So people do like to show off a bit, you know, if they've had an experience. And I just feel that we're all spiritual, and we all have the ability to connect. And whether it's, I can remember sitting in a church with someone, and probably the sermon wasn't really hitting the right note for me. And I was just sitting, and I was sure that I saw these stone carved angels looking at me. And I sort of nudged the person I was with, and I said, you're not going to believe me, but those stone angels just turned and looked at me.
Wow.
And it was kind of, yeah, we'll get something to eat shortly, you know. But I do believe that angels are not just Christian. Angels are, well, one of my first books was researching how it goes through all the different cultures of the world. And so I think it's whatever, however, and wherever you're in the right place, the angels will come to you.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I really do. Have they always been part of your life ever since childhood?
Yeah.
The way you said that. Yeah.
I've got a very bizarre childhood, just the weirdest childhood. So my father was a mystic, and my mother saw angels and drew angels and had ascended master messages all her life, but they didn't bring me up. So they had me, and then they separated and they went their separate ways. And so I was brought up by my granny, and I was just so lucky because she believed in fairies and angels and read tea leaves, and talked about past lives and all sorts of things, you know. So it was quite unusual, really. I mean, I've only fairly recently found out all the details of what happened and where they both went to, but my mum lived in America for a long time, and yeah, she saw angels. But going back to your original question, I used to see lights, and I could, and at that, when I was little, I could leave my body. I could actually leave my body, but I didn't realize that that was something that most people didn't do because I was too young to talk about it. I just remember sitting on my curtain rail looking down at me.
Wow.
Yeah, no, but I can't do that now. I mean, I don't know if I would even try now. I just put that down to, well, yeah, I was a bit odd. I had a lot of high temperature childhood illnesses. Maybe something to do with that, I don't know, but I always felt very close to Jesus. So when I was a little girl, I used to talk to Jesus. So although I wasn't brought up in a religious family as such, it was always part of what was going on, because my great granddad was a preacher, a Methodist preacher. So my family were brought up in the Methodist church, but I wasn't. My childhood wasn't. It was just, I just felt that strong affinity to that mastered being. And I think probably had many lifetimes of being in religious service of one kind or another. So I just think it's come with me, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I know, because I've seen it in guided meditation, when you know, we choose the family and we choose where we're going to be born and we choose our circumstances. And obviously your soul, your spirit chose the best ones for you at that time, for you to be who you are and do the work that you do. So yeah, you'd obviously picked the right one.
Well, I don't think I picked them. I think we agreed before we were all here what we're going to do. So, but the challenges are immense, you know. I mean, I've obviously had to deal with abandonment issues and all sorts of things over the years. But I just know in my heart that it was all fine. And I can remember once saying to somebody, oh, this thing called karma is true. I must have been an awful person in my last life, you know. And I was told that no, you know, with a great big booming laugh, I was told, you will be dealing with people who have had many problems and you need to understand for yourself. This is called compassion, you know. And I think, oh, great. A lot for that then.
It's so true. It's happened. I think people who are destined to be healers, however that looks like, it's almost like they have very difficult lives and trauma and challenges, and it's happening for you, because the idea is you're supposed to have empathy then for other people, right?
I also think that the soul needs to experience everything. So maybe once I was, you know, served and waited upon and reclining, and you know, this life has been very hard, but it's been incredibly blessed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally agree with that.
Yeah. So what do you wish that you'd known when you started your journey that you know now?
In what context?
Well, because I'm very much about lessons and growth, and I think sometimes we start out, we're quite naive and immature when we start on a journey. Of course we are, and we have to learn lessons the hard way. But sometimes I wish there are lessons that perhaps if we'd have known them, things may have been a bit easier, or things may have flown a bit better if we were more aware perhaps of our strength or potential, or you know, standing up in our power, all these things, our sense of self-worth. So when I say that, that's kind of what I'm thinking of, is do you wish that things had been slightly different when you started than where you are now?
When I started doing this work, I mean?
Yeah.
Well, it all started when I became single again.
Mm.
So everything fell into place for me. Everything really fell into place. What I really wish that I had would have been a sponsor, and maybe I should have taken on somebody like an agent or something to help me instead of trying to do it all myself. I was very, very fortunate to find somebody who was really good at helping me for a long time, put my courses together and things like that. But he did keep saying, listen, I'm not an agent. You need to, you just need to go and do this. So sometimes I think I wish I'd have had the capacity to trust myself to be able to organize things a little better for myself and get the message to more people. But on the other hand, I do feel as if I've reached an awful lot of people already through magazine articles and books and things like that. And I have been blessed to be invited, as I said, to places like Sri Lanka, and I've done so much in Ireland, and I think each of us in our way is an agent of change.
Yeah.
What would I have done differently? What have I learned? Oh, so hard, because I'm also trying to work on my own personality issues as well.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd have, if I could have not worried about whether I was going to upset somebody by making a decision that was just what I really wanted to do.
Yes.
So I've been guilty of trying to please too many people. I've felt responsible for other people. So I haven't kind of, marched ahead with what I was being told I needed to do, because that might hurt somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess one of the reasons that one of the things I would have done differently, I think, what I've learned is I have to listen to the guidance. But I've always listened to the guidance and looked around and weighed things up and then made a decision. So I haven't necessarily always gone with what I was guided to do.
Yeah, it's a real, I guess it's an unfolding lesson. And I really feel that life is not linear. I don't think it's A to B and it's wiggly in the middle. I do think it's circular.
Yes,
and we come back to the same lessons, supposedly with a deeper sense of growth and understanding, so we deal with it better. But things do come back around again to make sure that we fully got it. Although, of course, some people spend ages at the bottom and just don't understand the lesson at all. But I've noticed that in my own life, that when you think that, okay, I've done that lesson now, that's it, now I can move on to the next one, and you can almost hear them laughing, going, okay, you think that, Katie, you think you've done that lesson, that's fine.
I absolutely agree. I see it as a spiral. And I see it that I absolutely agree. You think, right, I've got it now, and they say, okay, try this.
Yeah.
How do you see how you get on with this one then? I do. I see that. I mean, as an Aries, I was just going to say, as an Aries, I've always been accused of just doing what I want to do, and that's not actually the case. And I think one of the reasons why I haven't done everything I really wanted to do was because of these issues that I said earlier. I mean, my father did that. He went off to do what he felt God was calling him to do. And my mother went wherever the Ascended Masters told her to go. So I've seen that, and I saw that the damage it was doing to me as a child growing up with that. So there is always a human aspect involved. So there's the guidance and there's the obedience, which we have to learn. And there's well, hang on, I'm happy to do that, but I can't do it right now because this person needs me. So it's
so true. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, right? And so that's not always sunshine and rainbows, and it's lessons and challenges, and it's hard. And like you say, that balance between your intuition and your human life and trying to kind of balance the two can be a real challenge in itself. So
Absolutely.
one that we're all trying to learn. I love that you called us agents of change, because I really do believe that. And when I was writing my questions for you, one that came through really strongly actually was that we are moving, as you know, into the age of Aquarius, right? So obviously, which is more about compassion and collaboration and being together as humanity rather than separate. And I wonder if you feel that the angels will play more of a prominent role in the new era than maybe they have done previously.
No, I feel I can answer that straight away. I feel that they are always playing a prominent role. I think that they played an extraordinarily prominent role when the whole age changed into the Piscean age, because everything that you read about during everything sort of scriptural or biblical or whatever, there were always angels present.
Yeah.
Then we went into the Middle Ages here, and we had angels everywhere then, which is why they're all carved in all our glorious big sacred buildings. So angels have played a huge role many times.
Yes.
And I think that since the 80s, they've been very prominent here, because we were approaching the age of Aquarius. And now as we're coming through that, I think there's been a shift again, because people have craved assistance.
Yes.
And they've seen angels almost like a wish list, or I need a new car, or I want a new house, or I need somebody to fall in love with. And so I feel that they're always there, just as they've always been.
Yeah.
My feeling, my sense is, until we can recognize it as energy, and until we can recognize that as us being empowered with faith and understanding, so that we can work with that angelic realm, rather than, you know, please come and give me this. And like children, when we put our adult big boys boots on and are prepared to walk our talk and put that love into action, is it going to get any better? Are we going to, I'm striving away, so are you, to really get people to, one of my frustrations is this tick list that people have had. Oh yeah, done crystals, done angels, done Reiki. Oh, I'm into unicorns now, you know, but hang on. These are all aspects of this modern fickle society, and we need to embrace, and we need to embed it into us. We you know, I'm lecturing now. Sorry, I don't mean to.
No. I totally agree with you. And I think it's part of that, like you were saying at the beginning, about that slow down. And I think you're right. I think we live in a society which promotes instant gratification, and people want answers, and they want their stuff, and they want it now. Like, I look at Amazon Prime, they want it like tomorrow. It's going to come because I want it, and I want it now. Yeah. And so I find that a lot with spirituality, actually. It's like people will seek guidance and answers from different aspects, which is wonderful. But if it doesn't give them the answers that they're looking for straight away, it's like, okay, that doesn't work. What else can I do? Yeah. And it's like, actually, it's a process. You have to have some patience with these things. I mean, I have been awakened for 10 years now, and I still feel like I'm at the beginning of my journey. I still feel like I'm still learning and growing. And, you know, people, if I had just given up straight away, I would not be doing what I'm doing now. You have to let it play out, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Well, not just allow it to play out. You have to do some work, you know. And so, you know, we're in a body because the body is to embody spirit. We have to bring that into us and physically embody it and be grounded, because we've got this big physical lump that's carrying around, you know, all the light. But I don't care how people do it, but do something well.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what that is, but do something well, so that because it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you know, if we're with our guides and the light beings that have been trying to guide us, they're not going to want a checklist. Well, I learned what all the crystals were, and I learned about, you know, how I could heal with herbs, and I learned this and I learned that, and they're going to say, but how much heart did you share, and what did you do with all of that?
Yeah.
They only want you to do one thing, and that's embody the light. They only want you to do one thing, and that's learn who you are.
Mm.
You know, and be the best you that you can be.
Yeah, I totally agree.
A CV as long as your arm. You don't need. I made that mistake right at the very beginning, because I went off. Not that I did loads of courses, but I was doing this. I was teaching. I was running little mini angel workshops, and I went zooming off to America because I thought, right, I need a shop. I need premises. I need an angel center. So I went off and I bought a load of stuff, and I brought it back, and I tried to find premises, and I couldn't. And I thought, why am I not getting these premises? Why am I not finding this angel retreat place that I'm going to run, where everybody can come and be healed and learn to be with angels? And well, it didn't happen because I would be absolutely useless at that, you know. So I have learned that just because you're dreaming something doesn't mean that's what you should do, you know. So if I was to ever run a shop, I'd go bust in weeks, because my skills at admin and bookkeeping and all of that are really down the bottom of the list. What I want to do is touch people and encourage them and coax them into the light. And I'd be just giving everything away. I'd be saying, read this book, have this, you know, take this crystal with you, have this candle. I'd end up with no shop.
That makes two of us. Because obviously being on this journey, the thought does cross your mind, right? Of course it does, especially when you start out, like you said. And just like you, I know that I'd be going, I'll try a bit of this, have a bit of this. And I'd be like, Kate, where should you stop? Well, they needed my help, so you know.
Yeah, I'd have to employ somebody to be my boss.
Yeah.
Tell me you can't do that. Yeah. So I suppose one thing I think, going back, one thing I have learned is work within your limitations. You know, learn who you are.
Yeah.
And there are some things I would never be good at. I couldn't do. And there are some things that I do well. So it's a balance, isn't it?
Yeah, I've definitely learned that in homeschooling, doing maths with my 8-year-old twins. There are definitely some things I am not good at. Thank goodness for Google. That's all I have to say. No, a bit of a fun question, a bit of a shift of gear, because I guess obviously angels take themselves lightly, as do we. So if you could get into a DeLorean with the Doc and Marty McFly and travel back to your childhood, any age, I'll let you pick, what would you say to your younger self?
It'll all be okay in the end. It's all going to be all right. But I've always been adventurous and brave in some ways and not in others. And so I didn't have fear of doing things on my own. But I think I was desperate to have someone love me. And so I made quite a few mistakes in my personal relationships. And so if I was to go back to, say, about 13, at that point where, in my life anyway, in the 60s, it was kind of, you know, going out with all the boys from school and trying to get a boyfriend. I know that sounds young, but from that age, that's when it all starts. Yeah. So be prepared with your 8-year-olds. I think if someone would have said to me, don't search, just learn to love yourself as well. You know, just learn that not to be selfish, but to make sure that you are doing what feels right for you. I think I may have not desperate's not the right word. I was never desperate, ever. But I was always hoping that I would be loved. And what's happened now as a woman much older than that, I now understand that we are all loved. Yeah. But I didn't feel loved because of those abandonment issues. If somebody had said to me, well, yeah, but you're okay, it doesn't matter, you don't actually need to have those two people looking after you, you've got someone who really loves you. And then if I'd have realized as I got older that just by doing this kind of work, you only meet lovely people, you only meet loving people, and those that aren't loving, you tend to not really get a connection with anyway.
Absolutely.
So I feel now that I've only just got to a point, really, when I reached 60, I think, I've only just got to a point where I do feel loved. I feel really loved. If someone would have said to me, it'll all be okay, you are loved, understand what that feels like. You have a whole realm of spiritual beings, and I understood that when I was a child. I understood different realms. Yeah. No one explained it, I just understood it. Yeah. I understood about veils that you could peer through. I always felt loved by God. I always felt loved by God. I always felt loved by this friend of mine, Jesus, who walked to brownies with me. You know, I always felt a spiritual love. Yeah. But I was craving someone physical to love me. I didn't have brothers and sisters, so I just wanted that. So yeah, I would go back and say, you will be loved. Yeah. Because love is all there is, really. And you will learn that in time. So you don't need to look for it, because it will find you.
It's beautiful. And I totally resonate with what you're talking about. So yeah, I think I'd probably say the same thing. And that's beautiful. Thank you. Who or what inspires you to be your best self every day?
People. Definitely. If I've put a post on and somebody says, thank you so much for that, it really touched me, then I would like me to be able to do that with the people in my own family, or other people as well. So I think feedback inspires and touches me. And some of the beautiful souls that I know, you know, some of the lovely people, I sometimes see how they are, and that inspires me to achieve that sense of serenity, or that sense of inner calm, or that sense of stepping away from judgment, and all of those things. And of course, my cards, you know, if I take a card, I'm not saying that it inspires me the way it might inspire somebody learning to use cards, but if I take a card, say, for example, say I took a card and it's this one, which is the Justice card, and I think, okay, it's a strong woman. Yes, okay, I can be strong. What is it I've got to do? Or I might think, am I being a bit hard on myself? You know, I might take some of the things that I know those cards are about. So
yeah, that's beautiful. Again, I totally resonate with that as well. So yes, thank you. I think it's definitely people are everything, and like you talked about at the beginning, the connection with people, with missing people, but hopefully the world will start to reopen soon, and we can get back to doing what we do best, you know. So what is next for you on your path? Can you have any plans at the moment?
Well, yes, I've just been doing, I thought I ought to do a little bit of CPD, continuous professional development. So I've just been doing a course with another spiritual educator friend of mine, and she's made me do lots of self-reflection. So I've been looking at, where do I want to go from here? And so my Crete retreat in June is now booked, and I shall take a group to Crete if a group feels they want to come with me. I've decided not to do all the mind, body, spirit events all over the place anymore. Not, you never say never, but
yeah.
I found that they were exhausting me. All the traveling and people don't realize that for those of us like yourself who go and do these things, all the free talks and all of that kind of stuff, it's very depleting. Your energy, your finances, it's all given. You know, people don't see that aspect of it. And so now I've decided to do far less of that and concentrate on my retreats. So next year I'll take a group back to the Holy Land again, and the Crete will continue. And France, I'm doing a lot more planetary healing. Which is something my mother always did. So she's still alive, but sadly she's 91 now, so she's in a care home. But I'd like to go back to places where I know something traumatic has happened in the world in that space, and I'd like to take groups of healers there and do some planetary healing. That's next on the agenda. I've been doing that down in Carcassonne. I don't know if you're familiar with the Cathars and the Mary Magdalene.
Oh yeah.
All of that stuff. So I've been doing that, done that twice. We were supposed to go last March and it was postponed, and then it was cancelled again, and then it was postponed, and then it was cancelled again. So I think that'll be next year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel in my dotage I shall be doing a lot more of the land healing, Mother Earth healing, goddess stuff.
Yeah, which is wonderful, and I think will really benefit. And there is a real need for that, as we know. So I think it will be a really powerful thing for you to do. I really feel that for you. So yeah, it's good.
That's what Chrissie, I feel I want to.
Yeah, definitely. So last question. I called these the glow interviews because I wanted to help bring some light to people for the darkness and to inspire, like I said. So in that vein, what lights you up and brings you joy every day?
At the moment, my puppy. At the moment, she is just, and that's a very grounding energy. What brings me joy also is the little things that I love, like watching the birds on the bird feeder and watching the cheeky squirrels separate the feeder and all the peanuts fall out. Simple things. I'm finding such joy in getting up early enough to see the sunrise, and then because we're so lucky, you can't see the window because I've got the tapestry hanging in front of it, but we overlook a field, and we're also facing the sunset. So it's things like that. So it's the sunset, the sunrise, and I feel such a connection to the creation in those moments. Planting a new tree in the garden, and thinking, new moon, hawthorn, let's do a little ceremony, let's just say a prayer. I'm finding my own little spiritual practices are bringing me a lot of joy and a lot of light. And do you know what I've really enjoyed? My Thursday midday meditations. That has really anchored the light for me, because like you, I work very visually. So when I close my eyes, the meditations are very spontaneous, because when I close my eyes, I'm leading people through what I can see. So if I see this beautiful light, then I'm saying to people, let's step into the light together, and that kind of thing. I have really enjoyed it. Thursdays, which for me is Raphael's day, because I work with the 7 rays. And also, just one little last thing is, I've been a member of this group called the New Essenes for such a long time. And they're all healers. They're all people that believe that they've been here many lifetimes. And so that can be a big leap for people that think we're born, this is it, and then we die, and we may or may not go to heaven or whatever. But for people that are all a like mind, it's such a fantastic, it's like a family. So that's always been a light for me. And knowing that I'm loved. Katie?
Of course. We have to come back to that, don't we? That's what it's all about at the end of the day. It's all about love. And I'm sure you have definitely spread some love on this channel today. And I hope that everyone watching, you know, just it's lit you up and you feel like you want to either bring your angels closer or you want to get to know your angels. And it's been wonderful. So thank you so much, honestly, from the bottom of my heart. It's been beautiful.
Oh, I've so enjoyed it. Thanks ever so much for inviting me, and go pick up your lovely twins now.
Yes, a little bit. I know. Goodness me, that's I have to compartmentalize my life, like I said. So that's mummy. I go back into mummy mode then, right? So, dear me. But if you want to,
you can share.
Absolutely, absolutely. But guys, if you want to know more about Chrissie and the work that she does, I will leave all the links down here. So go and check her out. She is amazing. I am proper fangirling at the moment. So go and check her out. She is incredible. Yours one of the first books I ever read, actually, on when I started my path. Yeah.
Which one?
When you're talking about Get the Angels Through the Ages, that was actually one of the first books I picked up, and it really just pulled me in. So yeah, it's funny how full circle. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. I send you lots of love as always, of course, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.